Hello everyone, welcome to my video. I'm here. I'll be talking about my community findings and the retail and mental health analysis, which are the two communities that I chose for this project. Firstly, this is the project overview. The objective is to use T-SQL to extract insights from two data sets. The communities are the retail community and the mental health community, which are also the two databases I have. The focus for this is answer focus queries to support decision making, and the deliverables include SQL scripts, executions, and findings. This is the overview for my retail community. It's a retail business environment. The stakeholders include retail managers, marketing teams, and inventory control specialists. The data sets include tables like customer sales, product categories, and the products. The data is sourced from mock retail transaction, and the purpose is to help decision makers optimize marketing, pricing, and inventory. The first question I have in this database is, what is the total amount spent by each customer in 2010 and how many orders did each one place? The purpose of this question is to help identify the most valuable customers based on how much they spend and how frequently they order. This is essential for customer loyalty programs and targeted marketing. Now, how do I answer this question? I filtered data to include only 2010 records using the year function on invoice date and grouped it by customer ID. I calculated total spending with the sum quantity unit price, and I counted the distinct invoices with the count function. Then I sorted the results by the total spent to highlight the top customers. This is the SQL script that I have for that here, and as you can see, I have already executed it, and this is the result. The second question I have is which products were sold the most in 2010? This question is asking us to identify the top selling products based on sales volumes, like how many units were sold during the year 2010. And to answer this question, I filtered the data to include only 2010 records using the year function on the invoice date, and then I grouped the results by description to analyze the product level sales. Then I used the sum function to calculate the total units sold per product, and I sorted the output in descending order to highlight the most purchased item. And this is the SQL script for it, and it's been executed, and this is the result. The next question I have in my retail community is, how do monthly sales sale trends vary across all sales in 2010? Now, this question explores how total sales change month by month in 2010. It involves filtering the data by year, grouping by month, and summing sales to identify trends over time. And how do I answer this question? I explore the invoice table to analyze monthly sales trends using T-SQL. I calculated the total revenue for each month in 2010 by grouping invoice data by month and summing quantity multiplied by unit price. This helps reveal seasonal purchasing patterns, and I'll show you the SQL script for it. This is it, and this is the result for that. The last question in my retail database is, which product has the highest total quantity sold in the retail database set? This question asks which products were sold the most based on the total quantity purchased across all invoices. It helps identify the best-selling items in the data set based on the retail database data. The top products were those with the highest sum quality value from the invoice table. Now, how do I answer this question? To answer this question, I analyzed the invoice tables to identify the top selling products using T-SQL. I filtered out returns by excluding negative quantities, then group sales by product description, and I summed the quantities sold. Sorting the results in descending order, reviewed which products had the highest sale volume overall. And this is the SQL script for that, and this is the result when you execute the script. And as you can see, the next community I have is the mental health community, and the stakeholders include counselors, community health leaders. The data sets include appointment symptoms and age groups. The purpose of this is to understand the patterns of care and the underserved population. The first question in this data base is, what is the average number of therapy sessions attended by patients who receive treatment in 2023? What does this mean? This question matches the use of the treated counts and total fields and aligns with analyzing treatment frequency among those who received care. Now, how do I answer this question? The answer is, to answer this question, I use the TBL treatment count 2023. This table is used to calculate the average number of therapy sessions attended by treated patients in 2023. The script filters rows where treatment yes and divides the total sessions by the number of treated patients. This gives the average session per treated patient while handling any risk of division by 0. And I'll show you the SQL script for that, which is this here, and this is the result when you execute it. My next question in this data base is, what is the total number of cases and treated cases for each treatment ID recorded in 2023? Now, this question is asking for the total number of people who needed treatment and how many received it in 2023. It's grouped by treatment type. The total column shows how many cases were recorded, while treated count shows how many actually got treated. This helps identify treatment coverage for each category. And I will show you the SQL script for that here. And when I execute it, this is the results that I get. The third question in the data set is, the database is, what percentage of respondents reported receiving treatment in 2023? This question asks what percentage of all respondents said they actually received treatment in 2023. The query counts how many answers yes and compares it to the total number of responses. This helps show how common treatment was amongst participants. I'll show you the to answer this question, I'll get the a SQL query that counted all the records from the treatment table in 2023 and is grouped, and I grouped them by the treatment ID. I use the count function for the total and added the where clause to filter only treated cases. This helps me compare total versus treated instances for each category, and I will show you the script for that here. And you can see that I seem to be having an issue with the code, which I will correct, but this is the function. The next question in my mental health database, which is also the last question, is that find the total number of therapy sessions conducted by each therapist for each patient in 2025. And this question counts how many therapy sessions each therapist had with each patient in 2025. It groups the dates by therapist, patient, and year. This result shows the therapist ID, patient's ID, total session, and the year. To answer this question, I used a SQL query that counted all therapy sessions in 2025 and grouped them by the therapist ID and patient's ID. I used the count function to total the sessions and filter them by year using a where clause. This helps me see how often each therapist met with each patient in 2025. And this is the SQL script for question 4, and you can see the therapist, the patient's ID, the total session, and the session. Yeah, this is the result I got for that query. So rounding up with my project, the tools and approach. The tools I use the SQL Server Management Studio. I use functions like SQL functions like select, join, group by, and order by. I use actual execution plans to elevate the performance, and I emphasize on clear stakeholders focused questions. What I've learned from this project so far, I learned how to use SQL joins and aggregation for real insights, the importance of understanding stakeholders' needs when building queries, and some of the challenges I faced was getting execution plans to show missing indexes. Cleaning inconsistent data values in the mental health database. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and I hope that you've been able to learn something. Thank you.